July 7th. Scribe acquires temporary travelling companion. By Morrow. Passing through a nearly deserted settlement in Nebu Terrace, a large wolf began to follow me. At first I was worried, as the hills and vales in this area are full of all manner of dangerous beasts. Every time I turned around, the wolf was there, 20 paces back on the trail. I picked up my pace and so did the wolf. I stopped altogether and the wolf sat down. Finally, I decided that the wolf meant me no harm and resolved to pay it no attention. The wolf, who I'd now named Tagalong in my mind, continued to follow me despite my lack of encouragement. When I stopped to have a meagre lunch, I tossed the beast a slice of salted reef lurker meat, as I'd lost all taste for it after my recent Canthan sojourn. The wolf happily devoured the lurker and waited for more. We continued along, Tagalong and I, under a hot midday sun. All at once the wolf gave a low growl and scampered off into the undergrowth. Before I could wonder where the beast had ran off to, a pair of peacekeepers appeared on the road ahead. These degenerate highwaymen have official sanction to ply their trade by the White Mantle. Their like has made Kryta unbearable in these last few months. As the hulking peacekeepers surrounded me, bombarding me with questions, insults and accusations, I resigned myself to a robbery and a beating. But then something invisible hissed past my ear and buried itself into the first peacekeeper's throat. He fell, clutching the green arrow buried in his neck. With a snarl, Tagalong burst from the bushes and tore into the second thug before he could raise his weapon. Within seconds, it was over. Wagging his tail, my canine friend nuzzled against my legs. Tagalong pricked up his ears at the sound of a shrill bird call, then hopped over the dead peacekeepers and dashed back into the woods. He joined his master, a lone ranger of the Shining Blade, who cast a salute my way and disappeared. Although I've never been more grateful for the company of a stray, I can't help but wondering if the rebel woodsman and his wolf frequently use lone travellers as bait to lure peacekeepers. Such is the nature of life during wartime. Alright then, are you guys excited? Hi and welcome to another video. This probably isn't going to be the last episode of the War in Kryta, but it's the last one really I'm sitting down and filming in one long go. We've got a few things to see. We've got the battle for Lion's Arch, obviously everything's kind of ramped up. This is the final quest, the final mission. It's a huge defense mission of Lion's Arch right here, which we'll be doing for the majority of the episode. Then there's like a huge epilogue to the War in Kryta, which is really cool, which we'll be able to check out. And then I'm just going to sit down and film all the reward stuff and that as well as I go through. So yeah, let's kick it off. Let's do it. I've got like a million things going around in my head right now because I've just spent like an hour on Wiki reading about everything I possibly can. I wonder how much of it I'll actually remember. But we're going to go into Lion's Arch Keep for, well, no, it's not really going to be the last time, but for the last time for the main storyline, and speak to Salma for our final quest. That Morrow article, by the way, might sound, that you just heard, might sound a little bit, like, generic or a bit off. I don't know why, but, like, the third to last Morrow article just kind of completely detracts from everything that they've been talking about in the other Morrow articles. I suppose it does reference that everybody's kind of left their homes, but aside from that, it seems a little bit out of place, doesn't it? In any case, the other ones, the other Morrow articles that are coming up, they'll actually be a fair bit better. So we're going to speak to Salma here. And she says, okay, so this last one is Difficulty Master. Were they all? No, they weren't all Difficulty Master, were they? I think only this last one gets that honour. And that's because this, when it originally came out, was very difficult for a few reasons. The first reason, obviously, was you could only have 3 heroes, so you were stuck with 2 henchmen. And like I said right near the start of the War in Kryta, actually, the henchmen would obviously be super low level as well. So the problem there was the AI would just pick them off really quickly because it would figure out they had less health, and then your team would spend more time rezzing, and then they'd get death penalty, and it would just get worse and worse and worse. So as I said, actually, it used to be quite a good idea to go into hard mode, but obviously that added all kinds of other complications. Now when we got all the heroes with us, it's much easier. You actually notice I've got Gwen in the team, which I haven't been doing for War in Kryta because she's not supposed to be here in the plot. I'm doing that, 1, because she's going to be really helpful for the mission, and 2, because they do something quite cool with her hero in this mission, which I can show you. But here we go. So we got Salma, and she says, the White Mantle army is teeming around us. Rather than waiting until they break down the gates, we will strike first. So yeah, remember, they're in the story, they're right outside of Lion's Arch right now. If it all comes down to one fight, it's going to be on my terms. Oh, what a good queen. Come midnight, we open the gates to draw them in, and then funnel them through that glorious choke point while our archers rain down the fury of the Krytan people upon their heads. Wave after wave, they shall feel the sting of our arrows. And when the Massart run out of fools to send, they will personally enter the battle, and our moment to end this will be night. This is so cool. This is like a speech. I can actually, she's only saying it privately to us really, but I can imagine this is kind of the speech she'd give right at the start of the fight to all the people of Lion's Arch that are all there. Don't forget, we've got a whole fleet here. Everybody's here. It's all ready to kick off. Bartholos is organising the defence. Speak with him to help fortify both the city and the people for battle. That is, assuming you do intend to help. Of course I intend to help. Of course it's for a free Kryta, or this is not my fight. No, of course it's my fight. Let's do it. Right, so as you can see, we get quite a few rewards there. And actually, yeah, Bartholos is now here at the keep, which is pretty cool. As soon as you accept it, he'll come walking on in. I think he just goes and takes his position and stands somewhere. I just realised I forgot something. I knew I forgot something at the start. Hold on, before we do that, we've got to see these little bits of dialogue that I've been talking about. Hold on, 1 second, I'll cut it. Come on, there it is. Okay, so here's the first one. When you come back to the Shining Blade camp, your character will say, other than a few residents and merchants left behind, this camp has been deserted by the Shining Blade while Lion's Arch is in danger. Like I said a couple of episodes ago, this isn't really that significant, but it is a little bit of dialogue that ArenaNet felt the need to add back in for anyone who, for whatever reason, I have no idea why you would, decided to come back here. Maybe they didn't know they could get royal gifts or stuff elsewhere else, but literally it is only the people that offer the services that stay, except for maybe one guy, I think, that doesn't offer services but is still around. You can't speak to them, they don't have anything different to say, but aside from that, yeah, you get a little bit of dialogue for returning back to the Shining Blade camp. And the other bit of dialogue that I can show you is quite similar. Can you imagine where that might be? Yeah, and the other one is here at the Ascalon settlement, where literally everyone is also gone. It says, the inhabitants of this settlement have been evacuated while the White Mantle threaten Lion's Arch. Is that exactly the same? No. They even wrote slightly different dialogue, even though conceivably they didn't have to. So yeah, everybody's gone from here as well. I think, actually, there's something that I've just remembered. I think if you go back to when I was doing the Titan quests, you know, I played with people that I met in game for the Titan quests. I think when we did the Titan quest that was here, someone in my team was at this point of Warring Kryta, and that dialogue actually popped up, I think. It was really quite weird. I can't remember 100% anymore. But yeah, those are two little interesting things that happen once you get to this final stage of the quest. I don't know why you would ever really go out there, but, you know, I think it's nice that ArenaNet put the effort in to see it anyway. But yeah, I did want to show that off. It was a bit retarded really starting the episode. I was going to start the episode with those and then sort of we'd go into it now, but I completely slipped my mind. So anyway, we'll go back up to the keep and speak to Bartholos to kick this thing off. So, Bartholos is stood here. Are we really going to do this? I think I'm ready. I think we can do it. So, alright. Hi, Bartholos. How you doing, buddy? He says, we have to sharpen blades, fortify armor, put up palisades, and make dozens of other preparations. Are you sure you and your party are ready to defend the city with us? I'm actually really tired. Just a quick nap and I'll be ready. No, we're good. We don't need to nap. Come on, Bartholos, don't walk away from me, buddy. See, this is a bit annoying because you'll click him unless you're really quick. Ready as ever. Come on, there we go. So, the Battle for Lion's Arch. This is, once again, another quest. There's been many like this in Guild Wars. Another quest where you are in Lion's Arch and something's going on. You might remember one in Nightfall was quite similar to this. But what's quite cool here, as I said at the end of the last episode, actually, is they decided to turn Lion's Arch into sort of a nighttime effect. And also, the keep itself is now sort of 100% connected to actual proper Lion's Arch, which is really, really cool. Actually, something I didn't mention before, or did I mention it? I think I did. If you go to the Lion's Arch Keep, in just the Warring Kryta and look out over the wall back into regular Lion's Arch, obviously you can't get there, but you can see there are NPCs out there, and one of the NPCs is a Junalized storage chest, which is really interesting. I think there's only one other time in the game you can find a chest out in an explorable area. I'm always curious about what will happen if you actually manage to click that chest, whether it will actually open up your storage for you or not. That's quite cool. But yeah, so here you actually get it. It's all one seamless, awesome explorable area. Kind of new, I guess, in that sense, especially considering it's now nighttime here, something we've never seen before. And you get all of the NPCs, pretty much anyone you can think of that we've met in Warring Kryta. They're here. They are a part of the story. I can't remember if they all have unique dialogue for us. If they do, I looked on Wiki, I couldn't find any. If they do have unique dialogue for us each, we might have this first time. I just flagged them there and checked the dialogue, didn't I? Shit. We might have this first time with me sort of running around talking to them all, but everybody gets slaughtered because I'm not fighting. But then we'll come back in and do it again. Anyway. So, when you move and walk down the stairs, it triggers the fight. And you say, the city defences are complete, your highness. Excellent, she says. Then we're ready. Order First Watch Sergio to open the front gates. I wonder why we're the ones that say that. That's kind of weird. But here's Salma herself, of course. You doing alright, love? Oh, God, shit. They do all have their own dialogue. Do they all have it, maybe? She says, we stand against tyranny, against false gods and corruption, against cruelty and injustice. We stand for Kryta. What happens if we ask her about the quest? She says, Bartholos is organising the city's defences to speak with him. We've got Dynas here, who says, yes, it feels good to openly take up arms against the Mantle after pretending to be one of their vile cultists for so long. You're still wearing the costume, man. In fact, there's a particularly annoying Inquisitor I'd love to slay. Well, maybe you'll get your chance. We've got Councillor Vela here. He says, this is a great day for Kryta. From this point forward, Krytans will be ruled by their own kind, not by the pawns of the Messiah. I wonder if this dialogue overlaps with the end dialogue. I don't think it does. You've got Maggie Malaquire here. This could be it. This could be it. I remember reading. Yes, yes, yes. The thunder of battle reminds me of the siege of Juma during King Doric's trek to Ara many centuries ago. Perhaps Maggie Malaguire is older than he looks. There we go. This is awesome. I love this. Don't forget, right, the War in Kryta was one of the newest bits of content that's been added into the game, okay? They added it back in. They rewrote Maggie into the story, or Maggie, as a lot of you keep saying. I'm used to calling him Maggie. Anyway, they rewrote him back into the plot, clearly. And when they did that, they actually wrote new lore. This siege of Juma about King Doric's trek, we knew about King Doric. We knew that he went to plead with to the gods, in particular Dwayne, and we knew about all that stuff, but we never knew that there was any kind of siege or this stuff. They actually wrote more history, more lore, more interesting stuff going on all those years ago, thousands of years, over 1,000 years ago now, way back then, just before the exodus of the gods. And they actually decided to write this new lore in, and basically flat out said here that this guy is immortal, and he was there at that time. And I think that's so cool, and that's why I think this is one of those characters I'm really excited to see in Guild Wars 2. I just hope he's there, because if he's immortal and they're still writing him into the storyline and that he's got all these interesting things to say, I mean, think about how much this guy knows, eh? It's so good. I love the idea. I love the character for it. This was when I really first noticed, when I was playing War in Kryta the first time, this was when I really first noticed how interesting he was. And I went back to the old dialogue and I was like, look at this guy, look at all the cool stuff he's got to say. And I think that might have been one of just many little things that I kind of saw in Guild Wars, and I thought, do you know what, look, this game really, if I'm going to do a let's play of it, it would be story focused so that you guys can catch out all these little things. So yeah, he's quite significant to me, and really that's what triggered it all for me. That's why. There you go, there's Maggie. I think they must all have unique dialogue then. Okay, so those are the people up in the keep. Who else we got here? We got a lion guard here, who was stood forward a bit, if I remember correctly at the start. Oh no, we've skipped this guy. No, Watchman Arid here, sorry. Who kind of blended in with my party there. Arid says, I've toiled and sacrificed and bled so that I may see this day, and now it's here. Today we take back our country. Today we fight for our queen. Awesome stuff. We get a random lion guard here. I assume the lion guards will all sort of have generic dialogue that they share. Who says nothing. Oh, okay, so that's where the dialogue ends. Oh no, after many seasons lurking in the wilds and striking out the shadows, I can finally face the white mantle on the field of battle and crush them. I've waited for so long for this day. Regardless of the outcome, whether I win or die, I know that I've walked the path of truth. The rest is up to the gods. Okay, we've got Bartholos here. You'll see that everyone's strewn out in a long path to the front gates. Our descendants will sing the deeds committed here. Today, we free Kryta. Today, we crush the White Mantle and send the Demon Masters to hell. Here's Livia, the real Livia. She's a part of the battle, so I didn't think it was too inconceivable for us to have her as a hero, even though we've got this whole duplicate thing going on. But she says, we're going to get bloody on this one. Okay, we've got a Shining Blade Elementalist who has nothing to say. Some more Shining Blade, a Lion Guard. The reason why they're all strewn out like this could be obvious to you already, but I'll explain it as we go through the fight. We got Ralph Bronwell. Don't recognise him, but I'm sure he was out there somewhere. Now, this is what I signed on for, he says. Have you seen my idiot brother, says John. My mother would kill me if I let him get hurt, and that's no laughing matter. What do you think where do you think he gets his strength from? My father is a tailor. Oh, these are the brothers that we saw in one of the dialogues at the camp. Very easy to miss, actually, so I'm glad we saw that. Mary Fairson, she says, I will not stop until each and every one of you is slain. I suppose she's talking to them, not us. Gavin, who's actually got some pretty cool armor. Oh, this is the white mantle that was with the recruits on that time. He says, do not look at me as a traitor. It's the white mantle that has betrayed the people of Kryta. Very true. You can see his weapons there. Those are oppressor weapons. We'll be doing sort of a section on that towards the end of the War in Kryta. We've got a woman here called Saphir. She says, today I will strike a blow for my family and for Kryta. We got Sorim, death to the white mantle. I think we're kind of getting end game syndrome here, where I'm just speaking to everyone in sight. You know how we do it at the end of every single LP. We got Koro Sagewind here. She says, my name's Koro, but you can call me the Great Vanguard Koro. She used to join our teams as we were running around. Same with Nola Shepherd, who says, I lost everything in the Searing and wandered around for a long time before being picked up by the Vanguard. When I'm with the Falcons, it feels like I'm home again. Didn't we read that already, actually, when she joined us as well? Diane. One time, I went drinking with that dwarf, Kilroy, yeah. Woke up in a ditch the next morning surrounded by Devourers. Good times all around. And Lawrence Crafton, who says, being a good elementalist is like being a good merchant. You have to pay attention to supply and demand. For example, when enemies demand that I surrender, I supply them with bolts of lightning. It's simple economics. Brilliant. Okay, very witty of you. We've got some more Lion Guard here. Shining Blade Elementalist. I don't want to go too far forward because that will trigger the fight properly, so we'll come up onto these bluffs. These bluffs are really good, actually. If you play as a ranger, one thing I've been kind of tempted to do is like have a full ranger team and like everyone have longbows for the War in Kryta, because this last fight you get so much range standing up on these bluffs, and you can theoretically with the right builds do quite a lot of damage. In fact, that's one thing Wiki does recommend. You've got Blim here. He says, if that doesn't work, I'll blame Zin. Needed more time. Told him I did. Not my fault. Don't take my staff. It's okay, Blim. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I think Zin's on this hill as well somewhere. There's a ranger there. Lots of Shining Blade are indeed up on these bluffs, which is quite cool. Yeah, there's Zin. You alright, Zin, buddy? He says, there's nothing like the thrill of field testing new equipment in real operational conditions. So satisfying. Oh, you are an Asura through and through, aren't you, buddy? It's all just tests for you. You realise you could die if we failed to defend this, yeah? Because they will just slaughter everyone in their path. Yeah, that's basically what this is going to be. They will kill these NPCs. The allies will come back to life, which is awesome. But as the fight wears on, the White Mantle will push further and further and further up. The only way to fail this mission is to let Salma die, right at the end of all these people standing between them, the White Mantle and her. You've got lots more Shining Blade. No one interesting to... Sorry, Line... Yeah, Shining Blade. Yeah, I swear I just saw some Line Guard. Yeah, the Line Guard are down here. No one interesting to speak up on that bluff. Snakebite here, you're right, Snakebite. He says, finally some serious action. I'll try to make sure I leave enough mantle for you. I know you have a reputation to uphold. This guy, obviously, we met in the jungle a long time ago. Alari Doubleblade, exactly the same kind of character, met in the jungle a long time ago. At last, the time of reckoning is at hand. I've got enough hate to last me all day. We've got Gareth Quickblade, who says, today we avenge our fallen allies and set Kryta free. More Shining Blade without dialogue. Got some people over here, Scout Malthoran. I've just realised I've been saying his name wrong the whole time. We were caught and unprepared at Den Ravi, but today we are ready for the mantle. They fall to our blades, as will the holy demons they call gods. Unholy demons, sorry. Deep Root, good intelligence and proper planning have gotten us to this stage. Strength and faith in the 6 gods will get us to the next. Yeah, Deep Root, remember, he put us on that quest with like the weird philosophy, and we spoke to one of the druids of the jungle, and he talked about the Massar and referred to them as birds and stuff, which is pretty cool. Birds of prey, I believe it was. And then you finally got the front line here. You got Lion Guard, Shining Blade Warriors, and right at the front, first watch Sergio. Okay, so I've already spoken about a fair few other things I wanted to in the fight. Now, this is just a huge defend mission, so don't be surprised if I end up speeding some parts of it up. I mean, it probably will happen, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to flag my guys there. This front line's probably going to die, but they're nameless, so who cares? And out there, you can see, can we like look through? Out there, you can see a hell of a lot of White Mantle. I remember when I first started trying this, people used to like try and run out there and attack them straight away. It was ridiculous. So here's Sergio. He says, all right, I hope everyone's fully ready. You might want to take a few steps back. Yeah, I think I agree with that. First watch Sergio, actually, is quite cool having him open the gate, because he was always stood up here next to these 2 lions, which I think is a really, really nice touch. So, yeah, here we go. The battle begins. This is essentially just a fight of attrition, is how I'd describe it. They will slowly push forward and push forward and push forward, and unless you're on a really good team, of course. It remains to be seen how good my team's going to be here. I've tried to build them at least slightly to be a bit better, but they'll keep pushing forward and taking out your allies, and just try and keep as many of them alive and survive for as long as possible. When I first played this has got significantly easier, as I mentioned at the start of this video, since it was first introduced. Not just because of the heroes, but there was actually an update, a separate update before the 7 hero update, that was specifically tailored to making this easier. I haven't played the Battle for Lion's Arch since that update came in. I haven't played it at all since then. Other changes have been made since then that have also significantly made it in the way of skill updates. Like, for instance, the main reason I brought Gwen here is because of Panic. I'm playing an Earthshaker, sure, which means I've got lots of control, and in a sense I'm doing the same thing that the Panic does, but I don't know, we've been playing more in Kryta with this build the whole time. It's okay, but it seems a bit situational. So even though I'm kind of overlapping a little bit with Gwen there, I think it's a good idea to bring Panic, just because there's going to be so many huge groups of enemies here, and the Panic is just so helpful, because Panic's nice in that, if you don't know what Panic does, I don't know if I've ever really explained, what it will do is it changes, it hexes the enemies, sorry, and what it does is an AoE hex. So you choose a target and it'll hex everyone around the target. Okay, and then all those guys hexed, whenever they use a skill, will interrupt people around them. So if you've got a huge group of people and they're all hexed, they're just going to be, the more people that are there, the better, because it's just going to shut them down more and more and more, if you see. So it's just really helpful, especially in situations like this. So that's why I like Panic so much, and we've brought Gwen. And, you know, that's an example of a skill that's changed, that's actually made life way easier for people playing through this. So I'm not that worried about it anymore. I would put myself in the same kind of camp that a lot of people are in, I guess, where they kind of say, oh, it was really hard and now you've kind of ruined it. War in Kryta, when it first came out, you know, it was content that was designed after Eye of the North. One thing ArenaNet tried to do with Eye of the North, you see all those double exclamation marks, that's when Panic's interrupting people, so you can just see all these interrupts going off. But, like, right after the War in Kryta, I feel like I should be fighting because they're building up. Come on, let's do it. I was standing back because what you don't really want to be too close to the gate, because then you can aggro way too many groups at once. We'll see what happens. Earthshaker's actually working really well here. But yeah, so Warring Kryta was one of those hard things. They did it with Eye of the North as well. They kind of introduced Eye of the North, and they were like, oh, okay, right, yeah, so now it's going to be harder because it's after everyone's completed the game. And that's what originally the Warring Kryta was supposed to be. It was the same kind of concept. But they changed it, and now it's much easier. I don't know whether I prefer it right now. Now when I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, it's easier, thank you. You know, it's less hassle for me when I'm LPing. But it is one of those things, you know, that I do think that it would be nice if it had stayed a bit harder. The other problem... Oh, shit, we're all dying. We might not have enough defense. If we're dying already, then that definitely isn't good. Not good at all. But yeah, maybe it's just because we over-aggroed here. This is the problem. I also brought Livia because she's a minion master. The idea there being that she would sort of help to get rid of a lot of the pressure on our team. But the minions move forward, and so you end up standing right out here at the gate. This is why I don't like frontliners either, because we're right up on the front line. It's generally not good. It might be a nice plan. I remember when I used to do this when it was hard. See, the other nice thing about it being hard, obviously, was that it meant that you could have... It encouraged people to do pickup groups and stuff. Of course, that always screws up people who aren't there as the content's being released. I completely understand that. But for at least at the time, it was nice to have a legitimate reason for people to sort of be grouping up. And I remember it was one of the most busy times I've ever... You know, Lions Arch is a pretty damn busy town at the best of times. But it was one of the most busy times I've ever seen at Lions Arch when it was going on like that. That was just so cool. But yeah, it's different now. It's a little bit easier. I don't know how we'll do. This first bit, obviously, we're all fighting humans, okay? There's been no there's been no Mercer or any of their constructs or anything about. It's just humans at the moment. It's pretty much what Salma said at the start. First, the White Mantle will send all of their forces in. If we kill them, then the Mercer themselves might decide they want to have a pop. So, someone called High Inquisitor Torimo says, your archers are no match for my elementalists. Before this night dies, I will see the city burn to the ground. And he will come forward. As you can see, the front line there, those Shining Blade, they have died. They'll come back up eventually, as I said, like twice already. But I like it when they're dead, because actually it lets you draw the enemy right in here, enabling the archers up on these bluffs to start shooting them out, and various other things. See, this is what I don't like. Why are the minions coming forward? Oh, look, Torimo ran in straight ahead. He's there in the front. Okay. Alright, we'll see what he does. He just killed all of our minions. Let's see what happens here. I don't know whether... this is always this is quite cool as well. I like it because Guild Wars kind of needs these little things here. Oh, look, he uses his own unique skills. Torimo's Burning Fury. Gain 33% more adrenaline with attacks. And something else. I don't know. I can read that in time. There we go. There's Torimo down, though. We'd heard about Torimo a few times in a couple of the... Maro articles. There wasn't much explanation, I guess, on him really at all in game, though, was there? I mean, we barely heard anything about what he was doing or what he was about. But there's Torimo, one of the High Inquisitors. He's dead. You know, there's not going to be many White Mantle leaders left around soon enough. But we'll take out his wave. And this is kind of what this whole mission does as well. It will send out enemies in waves at you, and they all kind of follow a theme. Like this one was all elementalists. They tend to have a lot. At least I remember anyway, they could kind of, if you got caught out by them, they just spike people down really, really quickly. But, you know, you put them in there, you fight them in the right positions, you know. The minions walk forward, they waste all of Torimo's damage at the start, then I can get in there and knock him down in the right time. You've got these spirits here who will get aggroed first, and these guys will probably waste some spells on them. You know, you've got the archers, make sure the archers in range. Stuff like that, it will all make this way easier. See, they're balled up here, but I don't want to move forward because, look, as soon as that spirit dies, they'll move forward. It's taken them ages to kill it, look. It's because they can't hex it or anything, so they're pretty much... Well, look, there's the minions going in. We're going to have to get in there while they're all nice and balled up. See, we've got quite a bit of AoE as well, which is nice. You'll see that the enemies are... They're all still using... Look at all these interrupts. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, especially when there's, like, spirits about, because the spirits just cannot attack anymore. It's so good. I've got empathy on me, and I've got soothing images. See, I don't know... I'm such a hindrance to the team. Like, all this damage that I'm taking, it's not like, oh, that has to be taken. Like, if I wasn't taking it, the backline would be taking it. That's not true, because the backline's defended by other things, and, you know, the enemies would be picking minions to fight instead. That's what the minions are there for. That's why I don't like, in this game, bring in minion masters and someone on the front line. It defeats the purpose. It defeats the purpose because now I'm taking the damage and my backline's having to heal me up, especially when you're using something like Discord, which isn't something I'm using right now, but any kind of hybrid focused team. If you're getting sort of unnecessary damage taken out on someone, your hybrids are spending more time being defensive than they are being offensive, which just plays into you taking more damage because they're not getting the kills off and stuff like that. It's just a bit of a pain in the arse. We need to get back though. I'm going to flag back, because I don't like this. We're too close to the gate. Look at how many there are. Yeah, so just tactically flagging back every now and then. You know, let them push forward, because then your NPCs will get into the fight a bit more. Is definitely what I'd recommend with this. There's not much really I can say. I feel like I've been a bit stupid with this episode, really, because at the end of the day, it's a long encounter, really. We're still only on the first little bit. I mean, it will speed up, obviously, depending on how fast you kill. It's not one of those situations that I always say that I want to see. It's not one of those situations where they just keep charging you, and if you don't kill groups in times, you get massively overwhelmed. They do kind of come in waves, so you're not going to get massively overwhelmed, but you can see, like, just look on the minimap, just look out there, just look at all of them. There isn't a whole... Oh, there we go, I'm dead for the first time. There is a whole army out there, so you do have to watch out, because they will keep sending, they'll like send a block of waves, like 5 waves that you have to kill quickly, otherwise you could get overwhelmed. Like this one just come in, you can see all the tigers and stuff, you know, we've got a lot of rangers coming in on us this time, and yeah, I died there because I was overextended. Look, I didn't unflag my heroes, and the worst thing is obviously now they're not going to be able to res me, so hopefully I can unflag and one of them can get a res off. We'll have to see what happens. We've got a hell of a lot of spirits going on. Yeah, there we go. What else did I read on Wiki? What else can I talk? Oh yeah, skills as well. People like to repeat this mission over and over. You can get a total of 12 elite skills from various bosses in this mission. Not too shabby. Oh look, some of them spawn straight in here, these enforcers. We did see this in the story. It's not like a complete cop-out them doing it, because we did see them just spawning in through the shadows every now and then. I suppose in the game shadow steps are a thing, so you know it doesn't break lore too heavily to have something like that. But that kind of crap will happen. It will never be that they spawn randomly up there in that courtyard, though. If you're doing really well and still defending here later on in the mission, it won't be like that. But yeah, skills, you know, so if you want, you can bring a couple of signets of capture and keep capturing from all the various bosses that are going to come with different waves. And that's about it, really. There's nothing really much else to talk about. I'll just keep fighting. I might make sort of cuts every now and then to the right sections where sort of more dialogue comes up, or we start to struggle, and yeah, sounds good to me. So minions, get back, come on. Oh, there's a champion there, resing his friends. Brilliant. Oh, well, there we go. As soon as he died, we got another thing. Confessor Isaiah. He says, "People of Lion's Arch, hear me." I love what he says here. "Unlike the old gods who have abandoned you, our gods are with us here today to ensure our victory. Surrender now or face your doom.